Hey guys, Event Horizon here. Today we're going to be doing a how-to play. Just trying something new. Today we're going to be doing a how-to play on a card game called Unstable Unicorns. So the first thing you'll have to do is set up your game. So there's going to be a couple of things that you have. So there's these cards right here. These are going to be the baby unicorns. They are in this area right here, which is the nursery. So they are separate from all the other cards in the game. This is going to be your draw deck, so whenever your turn comes, you draw cards from here, and play cards that are played, they get discarded here in the discard pile right here. Each player is going to start with a reference card, which is going to tell you everything you need to know about your game and everything, and what you can do on your turn, the types of cards, the symbols, the colors that are on those cards, and each player is going to get one of those. Once you get into the game, it doesn't take that much knowledge to learn the game. You probably won't use them anymore. And then these cards right here, each player starts with 5 cards. So these are the cards that go in your hand. I'm just showing them face down just so you could see that. And then each player will also start with a baby unicorn in their area right here. This area is going to be your stable. This is where you're trying to raise unicorns to win the game. So basically, the object of the game is to get 7 unicorns if you have 2 to 5 people playing, and then 6 unicorns if you have 6 to 8 people playing. So you'll start off with 1, and you'll just draw cards and play cards, trying to counter the other people while you're trying to basically build your unicorn empire in your stable. So next up, the order of play. If you have a card in your deck that has an effect, so see this card right here, card machine, if this card is in your stable at the beginning of your turn, if this card is in your stable, so it's right here, this is the first thing you'll do on your turn. So that one says you get to discard a card, so I'll discard this card, and then I get to draw another card. So that's basically how that effect works. And then once my actual turn kicks in, as part of my turn, I get to draw a card and add that to my hand. So effect cards will always be done before you draw a card. So that's basically how you do. In your turn, it'll show you right here on your reference card, you can draw a card, you can play a card, or you can draw 2 cards. And at the end of your turn, you need to discard cards if you have more than 7, which it says right here at the top on end of turn phase. So right now I have 6 cards, so I don't need to discard a card. I can just leave it how it is. And that would be the end of my turn right there. So there's going to be a couple turns in the game that I want to explain real quick. At certain times you'll be told to discard a card. Discard a card means it's coming from your hand. So you take a card from your hand and you throw it in the discard pile. Whereas if it says sacrifice, a sacrifice card comes from your stable. So if I have to sacrifice a card, I take it from my stable instead of my hand, and then it goes into the discard pile. So those are going to be the differences right there. For example, this card right here, the Llamacorn, it tells you when this card enters your stable, each player, including you, must discard a card. So say I play this card, that means I have to discard a card, and then every other player that is playing has to discard a card, and it goes into the discard pile. Whereas if there was a card that said sacrifice, such as this one right here, this is an upgrade card. It says if this card is in your stable at the beginning of your turn, you may sacrifice a card, then then you can draw 2 cards. But if the card does say if this card is in your stable at the beginning of your turn, you don't get to do anything this turn. You have to wait your next turn before you can actually use that effect on a card that says if it's still in your stable at the beginning of your turn, because in the meantime, between your turns, someone could steal it, destroy it, something like that. Speaking of stealing or destroying, there's 2 different terms in there. Destroying a card means that, so this one right here, it says destroy a unicorn card. Each player must then discard a card. So if this card is played, then I get to destroy a unicorn. So that means I get to destroy this card because it is a basic unicorn. It's going to go here. So destroying means I get to destroy another card and it goes to the discard pile. But there's some cards that say steal a card. So this card right here, it says I get to discard 3 cards, then I get to steal a unicorn card. So what this means is I get to take a unicorn card from someone else's hand and I get to add it to my hand over here. Yep, so this will work. This is a unicorn card. So I get to steal that card and I get to add it to my hand. And if the card does have an effect, which this one does, it says when this card enters your stable, I get to steal a basic unicorn card. So whenever you steal a card, you do get to steal the effect that comes with that card, and you get to use it once it comes to your stable. So that'll be the advantage of stealing something versus destroying a card. Some cards have special stipulations as far as sacrificing or destroying, such as this magical flying unicorn. It says if this card is sacrificed or destroyed, return it to your hand. So say this player had that one and I tried to sacrifice it or destroy it, it would instead go back into their hand instead of into the discard pile. So some cards are immune to being destroyed or sacrificed. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, what else? So there are also some cards that allow you to search the deck, such as this card right here. This is the Classy Narwhal. When this card enters your stable, you may search the deck for an upgrade card. So whenever that happens, you get to search the whole deck. Literally, you get to look at every single card. You get to pick a card that you like. So I'm looking for an upgrade. I do have the deck upside down, so that might help if I changed it the right way. So I search it for an upgrade. Upgrades have an arrow, they're orangish, and they're plus up. Just show you a little bit of the cards while I'm here looking for an upgrade. That's a downgrade. That's a magic card. Oh, finally, an upgrade card. So this card says Glitter Bomb. If this card is in your stable at the beginning of your turn, you may sacrifice a card, then destroy a card. That's pretty useful. If someone has a card that's really giving you trouble, you sacrifice one of your cards and you get to destroy one of their cards, maybe a pesky upgrade card or something like that. And then once you do that, since that person has looked at the entire deck, you'll go ahead and reshuffle the deck and basically put it back into a play in a new order, so that person that went through the deck doesn't have any type of undue advantage. So I've mentioned a couple things. So I just want to, before I close this up, I want to go over the breakdowns of different type of cards in the game. So the first thing you're going to have is unicorn cards. There are 3 types of unicorn cards in the game. You're going to have the basic unicorn. They don't do anything besides count towards your unicorn count in the game. So like I said, the goal is to get to 7 unicorns. So that's the use of a basic unicorn. It doesn't have any special abilities. All it does is take up a space in your stable. So if you ever need to sacrifice a card, probably sacrifice a basic unicorn. Or if someone's played a downgrade on you, which is an effect that has a negative effect on you, it restricts your movements and your plays, you can also sacrifice a downgrade that's in your stable also. So that's also pretty handy right there. You'll also have baby unicorns. Baby unicorns are special because if they're sacrificed or destroyed, instead of going into your hand, they are returned into the nursery right here, which is the deck right next to the discard pile. So that's the only thing useful about them, is they don't go into the discard pile and they don't get returned to their hand. They actually just go right back into the nursery. Yeah, so pretty much that's it on that. And then there's magical unicorns. So I know this one is a kitten, but it's a kitten corn. So it's just the humor of the game. Whenever you play this card cannot be destroyed by magic cards. So magical unicorns have a special ability at the bottom of them, such as the one earlier that lets you draw out of the deck and you get to pull a card that's out of the deck. This one was also magic. When this card enters your stable, each player, including you, must discard a card. So yeah, there's a couple one. The one that let us pull a card out of the deck, the upgrade card, that is also a magic unicorn card, even though it's a narwhal. I get that. So next up, the second type of cards that we have in here are going to be normal magic cards. So you can tell by the star up top on there, and they're green. Normal magic cards do not have any unicorn attached to them. They just have abilities on here. So right here, if I play this, I get to steal a baby unicorn from another player. So that's going to be the use of that card right there. That's going to be the magic cards. Next, we're going to have downgrade cards. They're going to be orange, and they have a arrow that's pointing down on the top left. This card prevents any other player from playing upgrade cards. So at any time a card is getting played, if you didn't want to do it, you can nay it, which these are going to be the nay cards right here. They are called instant cards. They have a red triangle, sorry, with an exclamation mark on the top and the bottom. So if anyone's playing a card that's going to be stealing a card, or they're playing a card that you don't like, or one that lets them draw out of the deck, etc., etc., you can play this card at any time, and they do stack. So say I play a nay, and then they play a nay, their nay overrules my nay, and they can just be stacked endlessly until people run out of nay or did they decide not to play nays. One thing that cannot be overrode or stacked is this card. It's called the super nay. Whenever this card is played, nothing can overrule it. So it's basically the alpha and omega as far as the overrides go. So nothing can override that nay card. There's two different sets in the rules in the game on how nays can play. How you can play it is if someone's about to play a card that targets an individual player, you can have it set up. This is something you can decide as a group. You can have it set up to where players have to nay it before they decide to target you or someone else, or you can have it set up where you can nay it after they target you or someone else. So I prefer it to where you have to use it before they target you or someone else, just because it gets the nays out of everyone's hands faster, and as a player, that's more useful. So that's how I prefer to play it. Next, we have an upgrade card. This is actually probably one of the most difficult cards in the game. When you play this card, cards you play cannot be nayed, and this is an upgrade card. If you ever see this card, try to nay it as soon as possible, because once it's played, you are not going to be able to nay that person until you destroy this upgrade card. So it's very pesky, but it's a great card. And then that's pretty much it as far as the different types of cards. Whenever someone has a card that's an effect, so say this card says right here, this card says, if this card is in your stable at the beginning of your turn, you get to discard 3 cards, then steal a unicorn card. Things like these are effects. Effects cannot be nayed. You can only nay actual cards, not the effects that come with the cards. As far as this game goes, it says it's aimed for ages of 14 and above. I think you could probably play it with some kids that are a little younger, maybe 10-ish. If you can read and you have basic understanding of grammar, you'll be able to play. Whether you'll be able to play good is a whole different story. And it says it can be played with 2 to 8 players. I personally think 5 or 6 is the perfect number. Once you get above that, the game can definitely drag on with too many people plotting against each other. If you win with the most amount of unicorns. So like I said, that's 7 if you're playing with 2 to 5 players, and that's 6 if you're playing with 6 to 8 players. As far as that goes, if you run out of cards in the actual draw deck, the winner is the player with the most unicorns at that time. So say my opponent over here has 5 unicorns and I have 6, I'll win because I have 6. In the rules, it says if there's a tie, you add all the letters of the unicorn's names together, and whoever has the most letters wins that tiebreaker. I think that's pretty dumb, but it's also very unlikely that your game will result in a tie anyways. But that's how a tie is supposed to be broken according to the rules. And then they do have a special set of rules for 2-player mode. So if you do have 2 players playing it, I do this with my girlfriend sometimes where we just play it. You are supposed to remove certain cards from the deck, and each player starts with a nay card. So each person will get handed out a nay card. That's not the super nay. So each person starts with a default nay card. And then you remove all basic unicorns from the deck. So these purple ones right here, all of those are removed. The Queen Bee card is removed, this one. The Seductive Unicorn card is removed. The Rainbow Unicorn card is also removed, this one right here. The Nanny Cam card is removed. The Slowdown card is removed, this one right here. The Yay card is removed. So like I said, this one's super pesky. I'm sure it's even worse with a 2-player game. The Mother Goose card is removed. The Necromancer card is removed. And the Sadistic Ritual card is a downgrade. It is also supposed to be removed. I can't seem to find mine. We may have misplaced it. So yeah, basically, if you have a unicorn in your stable, I believe that one makes you sacrifice whenever you get more than 5 unicorns. So it kind of sucks. So whenever you have a 2-player game, that card is also removed from play. Sorry about that. I just don't have it handy to show you guys with me right now. But as far as that goes, that is Unstable Unicorns. If you guys like this video, like always, just like it, subscribe, comment below if you have any other questions about gameplay, and I'll catch you next time. Event Horizon.